Hey, it's Marina, Travel Experta. Today, we're going to be talking about Guatemalan street food. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Let's begin. Guatemala is known for their street food for many reasons, but mainly because it is so flavorful and is such a big variety and it's dirt cheap. And yes, it can be a little bit dirty, but that's what it goes with. Street food anywhere, you got to take your chances, but I also really recommend to take your chances. So here are some of the top favorites you have to try when you are visiting Guatemala. First and foremost, this is something really interesting. Chucos. Chucos are literally hot dogs, and you can find them everywhere. We're talking, you can get them for like $1, a hot dog, and they come with all these different toppings of cabbage and it depends on the place. It could be with avocados, it could be with red sauces. So the word chuco itself, it's a very traditional hot dog you can find anywhere, actually literally means dirty. Believe it or not, the actual word of it means dirty. And it's just known like that. It's street food. It's going to be a little bit dirty, but I really recommend it. It's yummy, it's great, and you can find chucos everywhere. Paches. What are paches? Paches is literally like a tamale. However, a tamale normally is made with corn, flour. Paches are very similar. They're also in banana leaves, but they actually have potatoes. Potato is the main starch of it, and they could be filled with meats and veggies, and usually has a spicier sauce than tamales. And the reason for the word paches, when you get a flat tire and when your car is pushing down on your flat tire, that's where the actual meaning of pache is, that area of that flat part of the tire. And that's how they came up with that cool name. Okay, so when you go to the street foods, you're going to find obviously always tortillas, right? You can have tortillas with beans and eggs, or even avocado, but you also can find tostadas. Tostadas is like a really large nacho, literally, and they put different things on top of the tostada. Usually it comes with beans, red sauce, avocado, and homemade fresh cheese, like the super fresh cheese that you will find on any farm, right? A majority of the times it is dry cheese. You could ask without all of that or with all of it, however you want, but that is a very, very popular dish. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Enchiladas. So the enchiladas in Guatemala are not the same as the enchiladas that you are used to from Mexico. Contrary, enchiladas is literally on a tostada. You will have meat and it has beets. It has like this beet salad on it. It is just filled with beets and it has red sauce and that fresh cheese, and sometimes it could be eggs, sometimes it could be ground meat. It will really depend on what you're asking and what they are offering at that time as well. So this is another really interesting thing. Another really popular dish is tamalito de chipilín. So tamalito is like a little tamale, right? It's a little tamal. Chipilín, and this is the interesting part, it said it's a leaf. It's an actual leaf that is known in villages to be toxic. And the legend has it, if you eat too much of it, you can fall to sleep and never wake up, right? But the reality is, you don't. It's not that toxic. And they do use it in these tamales. It is a very local dish. It's very common, and I really recommend to try it out. Another thing is tamalito de loroco. Loroco is a really popular plant that is eaten and put into a lot of their dishes. So again, it is like a tamale with the loroco. However, you can find loroco in many dishes as well. So whenever you'll hear that word loroco, you'll know that it's a plant that people use here as well for dishes. It's literally like a raw plant. It's an edible plant, I should say. Okay, so we have garnachas. Guatemala is known for their ferias, for their fairs. And usually, whenever you visit little towns, villages, they will have some sort of a mini festival going on. And there are some foods that are only offered during these fairs. Garnachas is that particular kind of food because every fair you ever go to, there will always be deep fried things, right? Deep fried things is just the yummy stuff no matter where you are in the world. Garnacha is a deep fried tortilla that is given to you, literally taken out of that deep fryer. And then on top of that, you'll have mayonnaise and then ground meat on top of it. Yeah, not the most healthiest version of food, but you know what? You will enjoy it. You gotta try it, right? And where is the best place to eat street food? The markets. The markets are just filled with street food like settings, right? But there they have a little bit more of a heartier dishes, right? So if you go and listen to my Guatemala food podcast, you'll learn more of the Guatemalan dishes and you'll find a lot more of those in the actual markets, but it's still a very street fair kind of a place, right? So another really popular thing is those chili rellenos, which I mentioned in the Guatemala food podcast. What it is, it's chilies are red peppers, right? They're not the spicy ones. The spicier ones actually have different names. So whenever you hear chilies, it's usually a sweet pepper and they're filled. Relleno literally means fillings. So they're usually filled with meat and tomato and veggies. And there you can find that everywhere. And you put those on tortillas as well. So those are really popular dishes. All of the dishes that I am mentioning to you guys, you can literally get for less than $1. That's why they're so popular. So also the street food places, they also always have something to drink. Usually atol de elote. Atol de elote, and I mentioned that in the Guatemala food and in the Guatemala drinks podcast. So make sure to go and check both of those out. There's a very hearty soup-like drink that is made from corn. It is really flavorful and super filling, and it's usually miraculously always really hot, even when you're buying it in the street areas. So those are the most popular street food dishes that you will be able to find. You'll always find refried beans, avocado, and ground beef with tostadas or tortillas, but you want to go and just give a little bit more of a variety to your street food adventures. Guatemala is the perfect place for a gastronomical food event just from the street foods alone. And usually it comes from the home cooking that the grandmothers and the mothers have for their families. So if you have any more questions about Guatemalan food or drinks or anything, please go to my website, travelexperta.com, travelexpert with an a.com. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a review and share it with your friends. And remember to make every day an adventure.